In the suffocating silence of a tomb sealed for over 3 millennia, a beam of light cut through the darkness, illuminating wonders untouched by time. Here, in the Valley of the Kings, the resting place of the boy pharaoh, Tutankhamun, was finally breached. Within its chambers lay a breathtaking hoard. Gilded chariots, the world was captivated by the sheer opulence. Yet, nestled beside the royal mummy, tucked into its linen wrappings, was an object of far greater mystery. It was a dagger, its form a testament to royal power. A hilt of intricately worked gold, a pommel of polished rock crystal, and a sheath of beaten gold decorated with lilies and feathers. But it was the blade that defied all logic. Forged from iron, it was an artifact out of time. In the 14th century, before the Common Era, Egypt was a civilization of bronze. The complex, high-temperature smelting required to wrest iron from terrestrial ore was a technology that lay centuries in the future. To find such a blade here was akin to discovering a finely machined gear in a Roman ruin. It simply did not belong. The ancient Egyptians themselves offered a clue, a name whispered down through the ages for this impossibly rare material: Bia-en-pet, which translates, chillingly, to iron from the sky. For generations, scholars dismissed the term as poetic metaphor, but the dagger in Tutankhamun's tomb demanded a more literal interpretation. For nearly a century, the blade remained an enigma, its true nature locked within its metallic structure. Then, the piercing gaze of modern science was turned upon it. Using non-invasive X-ray fluorescence spectrometry, researchers analyzed its composition without ever touching the fragile surface. The results were undeniable. The iron contained nearly 11% nickel and traces of cobalt, a precise chemical signature, a celestial fingerprint that does not exist in iron mined from the earth. Its origin was not of this world. The blade was forged from a meteorite. The pharaoh's dagger was, quite literally, a star-fallen weapon. A piece of the cosmos which had journeyed across unimaginable voids had blazed through the atmosphere in a divine spectacle and been recovered from the desert sands. For a people who worshipped the sun and charted the stars, such an object would have been a direct gift from the gods, imbued with celestial power. Its value would have dwarfed that of gold. Ancient diplomatic records, the Amarna letters, speak of an iron dagger being sent as a gift from a neighboring king to Tutankhamun's grandfather, a treasure worthy of bridging empires. To hold this dagger was to hold a piece of heaven. To be buried with it was to carry the power of the cosmos into the afterlife. The story of this blade is not merely one of archaeology, but of a profound and ancient connection between humanity and the universe. It is a reminder that even in antiquity, we looked to the stars, not just with wonder, but with a desire to touch them, to claim a fragment of their eternity for our own. In the silent dark of the Valley of the Kings, amidst the gilded chariots and alabaster jars, a king's final journey was provisioned for eternity. Among the treasures entombed with the boy pharaoh Tutankhamun lay an object of impossible technology, a dagger, its golden hilt exquisitely worked, its blade untouched by the passage of 3 millennia. It showed no trace of rust, its surface gleaming as if forged only yesterday. For years, its composition was a mystery, a whisper of a craft that should not have existed in the Bronze Age. The truth, when it was finally revealed, was more astonishing than any earthly explanation. The iron of the blade was not mined from the earth, it had fallen from the sky. This was a sliver of the cosmos, hammered into a weapon fit for a god king. Its journey to the pharaoh's side is a tale lost to time. Perhaps it was a legacy passed down from his grandfather, the great Amenhotep III, a relic of a previous age. Or perhaps it was a diplomatic gift from a rival empire, a symbol of an alliance sealed with a piece of the heavens itself. Whatever its path, it became more than a weapon. It was a talisman of divine power, a direct link between the ruler of Egypt and the gods who traversed the celestial river. This reverence for fallen stars was not new. For more than 5,000 years, long before Tutankhamun reigned, artisans along the Nile had sought out these rare, dark stones. They understood them as sacred objects, messages dropped into their world by cosmic forces. With patient hands, they hammered the unearthly metal into small beads and charms, weaving fragments of the night sky into their daily lives. But in Tutankhamun's tomb, this ancient tradition reached its zenith. Here, the reverence was elevated to an object of unparalleled status. The young pharaoh would not merely carry a celestial charm into the afterlife, he would go armed with the very fabric of the cosmos. And yet, the dagger was not the only whisper from the stars buried with the king. Resting upon his mummified chest was a magnificent golden breastplate, a pectoral of intricate design. At its heart, a sacred scarab beetle, symbol of rebirth and the morning sun. But this was no ordinary gemstone. The scarab was carved from a strange, ethereal yellow-green glass, a material of breathtaking translucence. Its origin was another cosmic enigma, born not in the stars, but from a cataclysmic encounter with one. Nearly 29 million years ago, in the far, desolate reaches of what is now the Great Sand Sea of the Sahara, a colossal meteorite blazed through the atmosphere. It struck the desert with unimaginable force. The heat of the impact, a fury hotter than a volcano's heart, instantly vaporized the invader and flash melted the silica-rich sand below. The desert itself was transformed, boiling into a liquid that cooled into vast sheets of this unique glass. For millennia, it lay hidden, scattered by the winds across hundreds of square kilometers of unforgiving terrain. Thousands of years later, Egyptian prospectors, scouring the desert for precious materials, stumbled upon these luminous fragments. They could not have known of the ancient, violent explosion that created them. They saw only a beautiful, otherworldly stone, a gift from the desert that seemed to capture the very light of the sun. They named it the Rock of God. One perfect piece was chosen, shaped by a master craftsman into the sacred scarab, and placed at the center of the pharaoh's pectoral. So, within a single tomb, two distinct chronicles of cosmic encounters lay waiting. A dagger, forged from the iron heart of an asteroid, and a jewel, born from the fiery kiss between a meteor and the Earth. One a direct import from the void, the other an earthbound child of a celestial collision. Together, they reveal the profound depth of a worldview that saw no boundary between the terrestrial and the divine. To the Egyptians, iron from the sky was a mystical gift, a material so potent and rare that only the king's sacred passage to the afterlife was worthy of its company. These artifacts are not merely treasures, they are anchors in time, connecting a Bronze Age civilization to the deep, violent history of our solar system. They remind us that, for our ancestors, the sky was not an empty expanse, but a living, active realm from which power, meaning, and even the raw materials of eternity could descend. In the dust of a forgotten king's tomb, we find not just the story of a civilization, but a reflection of a timeless human impulse to look up at the stars and see in them a mirror of our own deepest mysteries. In the seldom explored Western Hills, the Valley of the Kings was believed to have surrendered all its secrets. For decades, the hallowed ground was considered exhausted, a chapter of history read and closed. But from orbit, new eyes were watching. Satellite imaging and ground-penetrating radar peeled back the bedrock, revealing subtle anomalies, faint whispers of human intervention, invisible to the naked eye. Guided by these digital phantoms, a joint Egyptian-British team began to dig. Beneath tons of limestone and sand, they found it, a sealed stone doorway. Carved into the lintel above, a faint but unmistakable symbol, the winged sun disk, an ancient sign of divine royalty. The seal itself was pristine, a fragile stamp of clay and authority, unbroken since the moment it was pressed into place thousands of years ago. Behind it lay not just a tomb, but a civilization at its mysterious peak, and a truth that no one was prepared to see.